¿qué tal? Bienvenidos al canal de Tino. Bueno.
Perdón, Ahora sí, bueno, juego nuevo que traemos al canal. Me lo recomendaron y lo vamos a probar. No quise tocar nada porque lo abrí, me apareció introduce la hora. Y como este juego me dijeron que es bastante de trolear, bueno, dije no voy a tocar un carajo y vamos a empezarlo juntitos. Entonces, bueno, me dice que introduzca la hora. Vale, la hora acá son... no, AM menos PM son las 7:05 PM. Ah, las 7:05 PM, tu hora favorita. Vale. ¿Qué hago? Aprieto. Ah. ¿O será que no pudiste resistir y me diste la hora correcta otra vez? ¿Otra vez? ¿Cómo otra vez? Después de todo sé que fuiste de poner la hora correcta. Ahora quiero saber qué tan precisa es la hora. Si hacemos otra barra deslizante. ¿Qué tan precisa es la hora 05? Precisa, papá. ¿Sabes una cosa? Sin importar la presión del reloj, lo estoy pasando genial ajustando estas configuraciones. Siento que estoy conociéndote mejor y entiendo cómo te gustan las cosas. Reunir datos es bueno. Vale, bueno, este juego se llama la parábola de Stanley, ¿sí? Que no es lo mismo para las bolas de Stanley. Cuidado, no es lo mismo. No lo dije antes. Ojalá tuviera más barras deslizantes, pero ya las usamos todas. Quizá pueda inventar algunas barras deslizantes nuevas para reunir más datos sobre ti. No debería ser muy difícil. Sí, voy a crear alguna. Debería estar lista la próxima vez que inicie el juego. ¿Perdón? Vale, sí, porque yo lo inicié para ver si andaba y puse la hora. Y como vi que ya arrancaban, fui para atrás. Por eso me habrá dicho lo de la hora. Vale, está jugando Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Gente, supuestamente trae más cosas, pero bueno, yo no lo jugué en la vida. Así que iniciar partida. Espero que esté bien el volumen. Si no, lo voy a tener que acomodar.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Okay, Stanley era feliz.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Ok, un segundo, Vale, ahora sí. Quería ver bajar un pelín el volumen. Pues vale. Acá estamos. Hola, esto no se puede abrir. Hola.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
¿Y dónde queda la meeting room? La sala de reuniones, dice que fue. Queda por acá. Bueno, voy a ir por las que están abiertas, ¿no?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Vale. Vamos a hacerle caso al relator para saber la historia, ¿no? Vale. Acá está el meeting room.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Vale, para arriba.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him, and so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Ah, wow. Oh. Ojo, ¿qué pasó acá?
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
¿Qué dice Escape? Bueno, vamos a hacer lo que nos dice él, a ver qué pasa.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Oh. Ojo. Ah, por acá.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Ah, pero estamos nosotros todavía. Bueno, no lo pude ver. Vale. ¿Y qué pasó, relator?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept his own life in someone else's control. Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life, for he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Vale. Por acá, ¿no? Pero acá lo pago, ¿no? A la mierda. Anda controlando nuevamente lo que me faltaba. Off. Ojo. ¿Hola? ¿Qué pasó?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty.
Bueno, escuchemos, leamos porque escuchamos en inglés.
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Vale.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Pues muy bonito. Never the end. Oh. Ah, empieza de vuelta.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Vale, empieza de vuelta la parábola. Vale,
Stanley
vale,
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
No, no voy a ir. Hay una puerta abierta ahí. No puedo hacer nada. ¿Cómo voy a esos lados? Ah, mira, con este me agacho.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No. No te voy a hacer caso ahora.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Todas cerradas las puertas, O se abren dejando apretado algo, no. Vale.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the
Realmente
detour
vale la
after
pena.
all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
No, no me voy a quedar
But
ahí.
eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No, no te voy a hacer caso.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Era tan malo tomar indicaciones, dice que no, no que no lo hayan echado antes. Dice. Cabrón, no te voy a hacer caso, cabrón. A ver. Ah, una tarjeta se necesita ahí. Vale. ¿Y acá?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
¿Cómo por ella? ¿Quién es ella?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
¿Quién es ella? Si me tiro ahí me mato, ¿no? Vale, a ver qué hay por acá.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you... Oh, no, you can't... Did you just unplug the phone? That wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
Bola.
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, If you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
¿No puedo enchufarlo esto? Qué mal se ve, ¿eh? ¡Ah! No voy. Exit dice por acá, pero ¿cómo hago? No puedo salir por acá. Vale, vamos a pasar. A ver qué quiere, volvemos para atrás acá, ¿no?
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Okay. No puedo hacer nada, ¿eh? Vale, se abrió esta puerta ahora. Tengo que volver para atrás, ¿eh? Vale, me cerró la puerta, cabrón. Vale.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
Vale. Ya no tengo opciones de hacer otra cosa.
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would.
No me deja.
That means
Vale.
choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right.
Vale,
when Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
A ver, a la izquierda, acá.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Vale, vale, vuelvo, perdón. ¿Y ahora? Si me vuelvo a meter por acá, ¿qué? No, ya no me dice nada. Vale. Vamos a la izquierda, pesado. Ya estoy. Ya estoy, pesadilla. ¿Y ahora qué? Está todo roto.
I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that you... my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? No, I have to. I have to shut the game down.
No.
I have to.
No me apagues el juego, te calenté.
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make... behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Vale. No puedo hacerle nada a esto. No. ¿Tiene algún botón más para hacer algo?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Está cerrado acá. Antes no estaba cerrado. Cabrón, me cerró. Pero acá sí puedo hacer algo. Pues no me deja hacer nada, Ojo, esto no era así.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Nightshark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code. Stanley spoke the code. Nightshark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Ah, ¿querés que hable yo? ¿Querés que hable o no entiendo?
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you?
No habla, tontón.
Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
Pero no es que no habla. ¿Qué querés que haga si no habla?
Okay, fine. You're not going to do it.
No
but
habla.
You know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You...
Pero ¿qué querés que haga si no podía hablar?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
De arriba.
Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice.
Bien.
I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right?
¿Cómo terminó?
Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something.
¡Qué cabrón!
Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it.
Pobrecito, quiere terminar la historia.
You hear me?
Me
Are
buguearon.
you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you
La
to
cara de Stanley.
decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
Me buguearon, amigo. Me buguearon. Vale, vamos a hacer otras cosas. ¡Qué cabrón! Pobrecito, me bugueó. Vamos a ir ahora.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Vamos a
Perhaps
ir
he had
ahora.
simply missed a memo.
I hate Mondays. Vale, esto vamos a hacerle caso.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Pero acá.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to
Acá muy
his
para
boss's
abajo.
office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
No, vamos para abajo.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy.
Ojo a la hora.
And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all.
¿Por qué serán las
None
horas
of
de
it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real.
Qué bueno,
And at
qué
last,
bueno.
he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself. Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine.
Qué locura de juego, ¿eh?
I am okay.
Déjame despertarme.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Yeah.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
¿Cómo?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
¡Ojo! Me mataron. ¡Cabrón! Son las 11:20, ¿eh?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
¿Esto?
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
¡Qué bueno! ¡Qué cabrón! A ver qué otra cosa, no sé. A ver, vamos a probar otra cosa, a ver.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Vamos a hacerle caso.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping him coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Vale, ahora es como al principio.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
No me deja tocar ni el piano, loco. Que no me deja tocar nada.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Pongo al revés.
2845.
A ver qué hace.
But it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself, and Stanley got the hell on with the story.
Hace lo que quiere por ahí.
What did he do?
No, loco, no quiero ir. No quiero ir ahí. Relator. No quiero. No quiero. Vale, bueno, esto es todo igual por lo visto. Pero qué cabrón hizo, o sea, hace lo que él quiere para llegar al mismo lugar,
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind
Sí, hombre,
Control
por aquí,
Facility.
escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
A ver.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
A ver.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Dice que vino para atrás. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Se murió de verdad? No me jodas. Ah, me mentiste.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Mentiroso. No me mató.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Cabrones, loco. Qué locura de juego de mierda. A ver.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Vale. Está todo diseñado para empezar de vuelta, ¿no? Ahora de Stanley. Me dejan pegarle, ¿no? Esto tiene el solitario. Vamos a apagarlas por las dudas, vale. Esto es todo lo que está en el juego, ¿no? Si mal no entiendo. Selecciona el sonido que se utiliza en el juego cuando se oprimen botones. Cada uno hecho que combina control sintetizado con el sonido que se produce al presionar el teclado. Ah, mira, están los créditos. Tengo 2 lugares para ir, Hostia, ¿y esto? Zona de guerra. Primera etapa de desarrollo, diseñamos un final en el que Stanley entrenaba en un campo de batalla luchando contra alienígenas. El juego de acción cobraba conciencia y le declaraba la guerra al narrador. Poco después de empezar a construir nos dimos cuenta de que era demasiado jocoso y literal para el tono del juego. Además, algunas personas interpretaban que nos burlábamos de los amantes de los juegos de disparo. Y esa no era nuestra intención. ¡Ah, qué cagones que son! Pues deberían haberlo hecho. Deberían haberlo hecho. ¿Qué crees que te diga? ¿Vale? Michael M. Correo electrónico al narrador. Después de presentar el segundo avance, le pedimos a la gente que le enviara preguntas por correo electrónico al narrador. Planeábamos usarlas en otros materiales publicitarios, pero nunca las encontramos el lugar adecuado. Aquí puede encontrar una selección de esos correos electrónicos. Are you Red Rock? Could you tell me what the significance of the number 1112800 is? Well, the thing I want to know is, what would you do if Stanley entered any other room? Claro, ¿qué vas a hacer si Stanley se mete en otras habitaciones? La sala de empleados, es como todo el diseño del juego, ¿no? Hey, en un principio esta palanca era parte del final Zen. Cuando el jugador accionaba las palancas, el narrador escribía qué color había accionado. El ascensor.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Vale. ¿Por qué no me deja pasar? ¡Ey! Oficina de Stanley. De izquierda a derecha, la evolución de la oficina de Stanley. La primera se creó en noviembre de 2011, la segunda marzo de 2011 y la tercera en febrero de 2013. Ajá. Pues muy bonito. Vale, acá nos cuenta un poco de historia del juego, ¿no? Por lo que veo. Yo ya me iría para acá. A ver qué es esto. Sí, no. Sí, no.
Can
¿Qué?
you see? Can you see how much they need one another?
¿Quién? ¿Yo con
No,
quién?
perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail.
¿Cómo hago?
Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice.
¡Ey! ¿Qué hago? ¿Salgo o no? Qué cabrones que somos, no.
Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you.
¡Ah! ¡Quiero morir!
Don't let...
¡Ah! No quería morir. Cabrones, qué locura, ¿eh?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Vale.
Wow. Yes. This room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous... But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
No. Voy para abajo. A ver qué hace.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go,
Tengo que ir.
From here, it's, left.
No me deje a ningún otro lado. Vamos a hacerle caso.
Oh, no,
No.
it's to the right, my
Qué
mistake.
cabrón. Qué
No,
cabrón.
not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking?
Dale, cabrón.
It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
No sabe dónde tengo que ir ahora.
Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Vale. Acá abajo será. Ah, va, ya estamos acá tratando de los números.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now.
Ya lo sé
The whole
todo,
story
loco.
completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
No, otra. No.
All of his co-workers were gone.
¿Y si
What
hago
could
el
it mean?
mismo?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Si hago lo
Perhaps
mismo,
he had
gente,
simply
¿qué hará?
missed a memo.
¿Qué hará si repito?
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the
Hey!
game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh,
Cambió
did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on.
No, reiniciaste
Why am I
vos.
asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then.
Qué locura,
It's an
gente, ¿eh?
adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Por acá que me voy. A ver.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
No me reinicies.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
A ver si ahora está bien. No hay puerta.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Dale, abrí, a ver. ¿Qué voy a perderme? No sé, ¿qué me voy a perder por acá?
Aha! I knew we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes.
¿Qué pasó?
No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our
Uy, la puta,
steps.
me vas a volver loco, hermano.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct?
Y no puedo volver.
Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations!
Hey!
I know you put in a lot of hard work,
Vamos!
and it really paid off. So, good job.
¿Y qué?
Oh, no. No, I don't
Pero
feel
claro,
right
no tiene
about this at
sentido.
all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win.
Hey.
Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to
No,
restart.
si no reinicie, hermano. Joder. No me reinicie. A ver. Ya no entra. Ah, no entra, qué cabrón, lo está haciendo a propósito. Lo está haciendo a propósito. A ver.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable adventure line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Ay, no puedo seguir la línea, perdón. Perdón, narrador.
No, I'm down. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
Pero ¿y acá qué puede haber? No hay paredes. No hay puerta, digo acá. Vale. No te calentes, narrador, Aguantá. Dos puertas cerradas. Vale, la línea me indica por acá.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa.
Calmate.
Hang on. That got a bit weird back there.
Sí, calmate.
Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
¿Qué? A ver, ¿a dónde estamos yendo ahora?
Wait, cut the music, go back and look at that fern.
El hecho. ¿Qué tiene?
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story.
Ok.
Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
¿Qué mierda crees que me acuerde del hecho este? No sé qué quiere que me acuerde.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Pero yo seguí bien las cosas. Yo seguí bien la marca. Me cago en...
Oh, no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you,
Línea,
after
¿cómo fuiste
everything we've
haciendo
been
esto?
through, you... Well, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Hola. ¿Y ahora qué? ¿Vas a confiar en la línea o qué? Qué bueno, ¿eh? Bueno, y ahora no sé. No sé qué va... ¿Qué se va a inventar? Porque ya se desvirtuó, o sea, la historia y el helecho, aparte. ¿Por qué me hizo quedar mirando el helecho? Qué cosa rara. Cambiaron de color las puertas.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure
La
line.
línea de
What's
la
it ever
aventura,
done
que
for
la
us?
dejamos.
We're
Nada, no
intelligent
hizo
people,
nada.
right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Venga, vamos. A ver qué hay.
Now,
Bon narra,
yes, this is exciting.
Está
Just
emocionante.
me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Entonces, loco, lo que vos quieras, dale. Pone algo. Pone algo. Pone algo que no veo nada. Cago en... Me voy para afuera, no sé. Puedo usar el teclado. No puedo usar nada acá, ¿eh? ¿Qué quieres que haga? No entiendo. Ah. Vale, tengo que seguir las luces.
Oh, no, not you again.
La línea.
Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Vale, que no le haga caso, dice.
Ah, a choice.
Bien.
We
Ahí
get to
está.
make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How
eso me
important
gusta,
we
eso me
mustn't
gusta.
squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Está lógico, qué lógica.
Oh, hold up, what's this?
Ha jugado al final de la confusión durante 18
The
minutos.
confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game eight times?
Llega a la sala de monitor, no reinicia la
That's
partida.
really how all this goes?
Primer reinicio.
It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide?
¿Cuántas veces
Why
reinició?
don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't
Cuatro,
want
¿no?
it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So,
Lo vas a
okay.
reiniciar. No nos queda otra.
I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination, so I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
Qué susto me pegó, se reinició, vale. Qué susto.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall.
Sí, me acuerdo de una foto de una montaña. New content, dice, nuevo contenido.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire
Está la
it.
línea ahí, mirá. Está la línea.
The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so? But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Vale.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Vale. Vale, esta sería la de la izquierda, ¿no? Me imagino.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find... Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
No había nada, en serio.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ay, ¿qué dice ahí? I love... Hey.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking must...
A ver, ahí no hacía nada distinto.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Me meto por acá.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
A ver a dónde va.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Normal, No, porque sabes que me queda todavía lo de atender el teléfono.
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time.
No.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Bien. No está más la línea amarilla.
Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Qué bueno. Vale. Quería saber qué pasaba. ¡Qué cabrón!
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Vale. Upa. Vamos ahí otra vez
When
por
Stanley
acá.
came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, giddy in a way he had never known before. Was it this room? A connection between the two? Could a man love a room? I mean, truly, deeply. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
Vale,
I
ahora voy a ver
realize
lo
that
del
investing
teléfono.
your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting,
¿El
Stanley.
salto acá?
Someone you've forgotten about. Please. What? Really? I
Hey,
was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful.
Qué bueno.
Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
A ver, muéstrame, a ver. Estás de mi lado, dale, a ver. ¿Dónde estamos
Now
yendo?
listen carefully, this is
Ojo.
important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Ah,
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood.
No.
Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating.
ah, qué bueno.
Stanley walked through the red... All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't
Sí.
let me stop you.
Ok. Ok, acá.
You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you?
No te
Do you not
calientes.
think I put a lot of time into that?
La
Because
puta.
I did.
Eres
And in the
calentón.
end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Gracias.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Aha! You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one.
Ojo.
Let's take a look. Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and
Oh,
now
¿en
would be a
serio? ¿Me vas a
lovely
volver loco?
opportunity to give it some playtesting.
A ver, dale.
You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you?
Dale,
Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Ponelo, a ver. Aquí va.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger.
No.
You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life.
No.
I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours.
¿Qué?
So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Ah, está en pedo, este voy a estar acá 4 horas, sí. Ah, que se queme el pendejo, la mierda.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done.
Dale.
It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh,
De nada.
hey, since my game was so awful,
No te
why don't we play
calenté.
someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
¿Cuál? ¿Qué juego puso ahora?
Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Oh, qué locura esto, loco, ¿eh? ¡No! Ay, pensé que me caía.
Oh, no. No, it can't be. It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly, block it off.
No!
Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call.
No, me bloqueó
You
el
wandered off
juego.
into that thing, that big, open, just wandering around, no right or wrong directions, no path to follow. You can just go in any...
Ya, no le gusta el mundo abierto.
Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game.
Vale.
Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls.
¿Qué pone?
Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
Qué bueno, qué locura. ¿Eh?
Wonderful.
No.
See, this is exactly what I had in mind.
No.
Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is
Qué
game
bueno.
design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed. Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see.
Necesito un
There are
cochecito,
lots
¿no?
of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must.
Dale, dame un coche,
okay,
¿no?
Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Qué bueno, bro. Qué locura este juego, ¿eh?
Are you
Madre
doing it?
mía.
Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked
está
so hard
enojado.
on? Stanley, I have a thought. And I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure, then surely multiple balls makes for an even more euphoric sports experience. I'm going to try it out. Here comes another ball. Yes! Oh goodness, that really does feel amazing, doesn't it? Stanley, I'm like a child in a confectionery shop. I simply have to have more. I'm insatiable. More balls!
¡Eh! ¡Qué hijo de puta! Dale, loco, pero...
Are you enjoying this, Stanley?
No, la verdad que no. Sácame de acá.
Is this a real video game? Well, I sure hope you're having a good time, because guess what? It's over. That's right. Your little fun comes to an
Qué
end.
cabrón.
This is my game, and what I say goes. You get to have fun when I let you, Stanley.
Bueno,
Besides, you need someone like me to set boundaries for you. Without rules or boundaries, video games are nothing. Yes, that's what I am. I'm structure. I'm your sense of purpose. And since you decided you didn't want to play my game, now I don't want to play with you either. So, goodbye, Stanley. I'm leaving. See how you like it when I'm not around to set the rules.
Cálente, se baja.
I don't think you'll enjoy it as much, but who knows? You're an inventive kid, you'll come up with something. After all, you're the one who knows best. Take care, Stanley.
¿Calentó? Se calentó.
Hold on, what are you doing?
Me tiré. Si no me querías hablar más.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back. We still have so much...
Oh. Ahí. Vale. Tampoco como todo hecho mierda acá, ¿no? Vale, esto sería como si vamos a la izquierda, ¿no? Vale, de acá empezamos, de acá empezamos. Entonces, si vamos para allá es como si fuéramos a la derecha. A ver qué hay por acá. Vale, esta es la parte de la derecha. ¿Qué más podemos hacer acá? No hay mucho más que hacer. Volvo para atrás para la oficina. A ver. ¡Ojo! Que acá hay todas cosas prendidas. Hola. ¿Vuelvo a la oficina? Va. Vamos a reiniciarlo. A ver qué dice.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Vale.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Vale, vale, vale. Vale, vale, espera.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Vale, vale, ahora voy a
Perhaps
hacer
he
lo del
wanted to stop by
teléfono.
the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps, but eager to
Voy a
get
hacer
back
esto
to
ahora,
business,
a ver.
Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Vale.
I'm not your enemy, really. I'm
No
not.
veo que haya otra cosa
I
para hacer
realize
por
that
acá,
investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside.
Vale.
To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this.
A ver qué es esto, qué final es.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right.
427.
Okay, there we go. All right, now.
Ojo,
I
voy
want
que
you
la
to come in
oficina.
and tell me all about your
¡Qué cabrón!
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
A ver.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Buen día, empleado. L en tu teclado.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Ah, no, me está haciendo como que yo soy Stanley. No, los huevos, no te voy a imprimir nada. Claro, porque si yo lo hago, estoy haciendo con lo que hace Stanley todos los días. No quiero. No quiero. Joder.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to
Cabrón,
do.
sí, que no
Now
quiero,
he's
pero...
pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Dale, cabrón.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
F.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions, and down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Vale.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Cabrón, qué
And I'm
asco del
trying to
final.
tell him this.
Qué
That in
asco
this
esto, ¿no?
world he can never be anything but an observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Ok, no lo hago. Si él me dice que no lo haga, no lo hago. A ver. ¿Y qué? ¿Cuánto vamos a estar así? ¿Pasar por ahí? Pero cabrón, ¿cuánto voy a estar acá? Si no aprieto el botón. Cabrón, boludo, pero ¿cuánto tengo que estar así?
You see? Can he just not hear me?
Dice, no,
How
no me
can I
hacen
tell him in a
nada.
way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Jota.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley.
Exacto.
We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried...
No apreté nada, ¿eh? Ah, vale, no, está contando. No puede tocar absolutamente nada.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This
no puedo
couldn't
salir
go
ahora.
anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer.
Vale.
Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Vale. Vale, ese es otro final. Vale,
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
¿Sabes que no tendría que haber reiniciado el que habíamos hecho antes, pero ni me
When
acuerdo?
Stanley came to a set of two open
Sí, me acuerdo
doors, this
cómo lo
was
hicimos.
not the
Por
correct
acá.
way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly
Por
well.
acá.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Igual que el de la línea. El
And
de la
here it
línea
was,
tendría que haber tenido más
the
salidas,
lounge. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his
La
left.
línea tenía que haber tenido alguna salida más, capaz, algún final más.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible
tirar
he
por
wasn't
acá de
5
vuelta.
years ago.
Me voy a tirar por acá de vuelta, gente.
Look, Stanley, I think
Sí, lo voy
perhaps
a
we've
cortar,
gotten off on the wrong... Stanley walked through the red door.
Vamos a cruzar por la puerta roja ahora a ver qué me dice.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now.
Cabrón, pero
Don't
el
you
mismo-
see that it's killing us, Stanley?
La misma cosa.
I wanted to stop. We
misma
would
sala.
both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution.
Lo reinicia.
Here, let me show you.
A ver. ¿Qué pasó?
What do we want? What are we looking for?
Hostia.
Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
Vale. Qué locura ahora. ¿Me voy? ¿Te vas a enojar?
No, wait. Where are you going?
Me voy.
Oh, no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
Bueno, tranquilo.
Please,
No
no,
tengo por qué
Stanley, let
morir.
me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
A la mierda.
Thank God. No, what are you doing, Stanley?
Qué
Please,
bueno.
I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was
hacer de
before.
vuelta, voy a
If
hacer de
you
vuelta.
die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
A ver. ¿Y ahora?
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
No, no quiero.
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game?
No,
That you'll
¿por
throw
qué?
yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation
Qué
correctly?
mal. Pero sí, es verdad.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
Qué locura, gente. Que tiene un trasfondo esto increíble, ¿eh? Chao.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
¡Oh! ¡Qué bueno!
All of his co-workers were gone.
¡Qué
What could it mean?
bueno!
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Vale, ahora vamos a hacer otra vez lo mismo, pero
When
me
Stanley
voy a
came
ir
to a set of
a
two
la
open doors,
puerta
this was
azul.
not the correct way
en vez
to
de
the
hacerle
meeting
caso.
room. And
Vale, ya estamos acá.
hold on, what are you doing?
Vale, ya estamos acá. La parte final.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Vale. Y estamos acá de vuelta. Y acá yo lo reinicié porque no sabía qué hacer. Vamos a revisar un poco todo bien. Acá no hay nada. Por acá. Por acá. Ajá. Puedo ir acá, loco. No entiendo los controles cuáles son. No, es que solamente se agacha. Controles. Pero no salta. No salta, mirá. No salta, se agacha con ese, pero con este no salta. No me deja ni siquiera cerrar esta puerta, qué raro. Bueno, gente, nada, creo que le hicimos bastante cosa. Díganme, bueno, en los comentarios, y si veo que tiene apoyo, subo una segunda parte. Si no, bueno, lo vamos a dejar por acá. Lo quería probar, la verdad que es una locura, es buenísimo, súper entretenido. Y te dan ganas de empezar a probar cosas. Yo ya, por ejemplo, estoy pensando que yo le hice caso en todo. Y podría, en el último hay un botón, y podría, en vez de darle a off y apagar todo, como dice, y hacer el final, darle on, a ver qué hace. Así que nada, estoy pensando que puede haber otras variantes. Dejarme ver si aplastar en ese momento en vez de reiniciar el juego, como me pidió la narradora. Pero bueno, creo que más o menos ya le dimos un vistazo. Y nada, si tiene apoyo y gusta, más adelante traigo el otro capítulo. Nada más, gente, nos vemos en el siguiente videojuego. Chao, chao. ¡Ah! Perdón, gente, lo tenía que hacer. ¡Ah!
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp.
Ah, mira, tiene sonido. ¿Se acuerdan que en la otra, cuando nos explicó la narradora?
Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not?
¡Qué cabrón!
These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off?
Sí, pensé eso.
I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
Stanley,
you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble.
Qué malo.
This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully?
Se abrió la puerta.
Another choice. Make it count. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
A la mierda. Qué cabrón. Qué cabrones que somos, ¿verdad? Qué cabrón. Lo tenía que ver. Chao, chao. Tienen razón, pero no se los voy a dar.